This all started when I came up with the idea that instead of having a surfboard, what if we had a bike? I think with the hydrofoil this could work. I've never seen anyone on YouTube try this before, so it's very experimental, but here's how I built it. This is where it all begins. I simply sketched up in Fusion 360 an airfoil using a profile I found on Google. I took the parameter, extruded it in Fusion 360 and printed it in very low infill, so it only weighs about 200 grams. However, it's pretty big. I designed it so that the cables from the electric motor runs inside the mast, and we have two reinforcing wooden dowels running throughout the entire wing. My possibly somewhat genius idea for the bike frame is to use plywood with standoffs and then have 3D printed armor, that's not the word, plates, skirt, around the perimeter of the plywood, and then fill it up with expanding foam, and that's going to be the buoyancy for the bike so that we don't sink. That's the top. We'll have a bike seat over there. This is the front. We'll have standoffs, and then an identical part like this on the opposite side. We'll fill the space with foam. Can't go wrong. Designing the bike frame, my main concern was actually buoyancy. I accounted for the whole thing to have a weight of maybe 20 kilograms, fully stocked with batteries and everything. So the standoffs made me able to adjust the total volume, and eventually I decided to have 15 liters of expanding foam to displace the water. And I was hoping that would be enough to keep the frame and myself at a good level above the water. Here I'm adding polyester and glass fiber to make the wing as stiff as humanly possible. My previous attempt definitely tells me that the weak point isn't the wing, but the transition where the mast and wing meet. So after adding a large strip to the bottom, I did also reinforce both sides of the mast this time, something I didn't do in the first hydrofoil video. The frame is connected by 4 rods, but will also be joined with the expanding foam later on. Also, I realized how tall this thing all of a sudden got. Instead of 3D printing, as you probably can tell, I decided to go with tape. I think that's going to be way easier and faster. So all we have to do now is take the expanding foam, fill it up in, well, numerous places, and see if we can fill the volume. Fingers crossed it works. Nothing really happened. I didn't see any expansion immediately, but when I came back the next morning, it looked a lot better. Now we'll see if this worked. I think it did. So let's unwrap it. That worked better than most of you expected, I bet. That worked better than what I expected as well. But there are some unfilled compartments, so I'm just gonna give it a little spray as I remove the tape. I don't know what I did to make it this light, but I did something right. E-foil bike, taking good shape. Plywood isn't waterproof even a little bit, so I found a waterproof coat that I added before also painting 2 layers of just white paint. Okay, let's talk front wing, you guys. It's just a scaled down version, 30% of the original wing. Now, there's a series of holes. I did that intentionally to be able to tilt it. Just a gut feeling that might be important. Things left to do is add a handlebar so we have something to hold on to, a seat post, hook up the motor. The ESC and everything should be a breeze. The batteries, we have done that before, so shouldn't be any surprises. As you've seen, I've used super glue to glue about every part of this build. It bonds extremely well to 3D printed plastic. It bonds so well it almost always stronger than the plastic itself, so that's why you see me use it so much. I dig out some foam to have the attachment of the front wing flush with the plywood. I then drill these holes, a few of them, so that I can adjust the angle of it later. This is some carbon fiber strips, but I didn't have any polyester or epoxy, so super glue saved the day. Okay, container, all ready to go. And I made tabs that should hold on to the plywood pretty well. Okay, motor cables. Let's see if it locks in. That looks pretty darn good. Clearly, I wasn't designing this. I could just have made a tab out to lock onto the plywood up front. Now I have to drill from the inside, and it's just 8mm plywood, so it's pretty thin. Could just have made some kind of bracket out here. This just connects to a 12 volts power supply, a battery, and it converts it to 5 volts. And it's just for the servo tester and the twist throttle. So it's a bit unnecessary. Now, I'll link a video down below how you can convert or modify your servo tester. It's like $1 to work with the twist throttle. And it works. But I'll show you what happens when I power this on. You can see that the motor doesn't spin even though I give it some throttle. What I have to do is provide full throttle, hold it there, and now when I release it, the motor will start. But in the resting position, that's now full throttle, so it's reversed. Here comes the weird part. All I have to do is switch out this new servo tester for my old one that I've had for years. And now you'll see it work. All there is left is to make sure everything works. Gotta love that 48 volt spark, but for some unknown reason the motor wasn't spinning this time. For the next day I tried every controller I have in the garage, some actually with more success than others, which tricked me into thinking it must have been controller related.
Förbannat också. Vad kan vara fel?
Something I should have done way sooner. Tested the phases of the motor and realized the motor was gonna have to be replaced. So I decided to rip out the old motor, which is more of a struggle than it may seem. But while doing so, I also found the problem. You're not gonna believe this, you guys. Turns out we don't need a new motor. It has been plenty of times in the water, and one of the wires had corroded. So when I pulled the wires, I probably pulled a little too hard and it broke off. I soldered these connections. Now, where are the wires gonna go? I can't just put them in there. What I could do is just pull on this end and have the wires come up. But from here to here, it's filled with foam and the wires are glued all the way. That's where it had broken off. So I replaced all three, resoldered the connections, and now should be able to go again. This though meant that I couldn't use the original wires. I had to reroute new ones on the outside. I also added wingtips to reduce drag and a front cone to cut the water. All there was left to do now was to solder the final connections and we are ready to go. Much closer and we'd be in the water. I think we built this in July. I've done almost 500 kilometers on it, you guys. I've been using it quite a bit to take me from A to B, used it for work. I did a short where I pulled up an old bush and it works really well. It's so powerful. Some of the panels have started to fall off. That were mostly due to the 3D printed hinges. So it's been -5 for a few days now, so there's not going to be Caribbean water, hence the wetsuit. I just hope all the plastic parts holds up and just maybe we're gonna fly. Here we go. It definitely has a lot of flow to it, that's for sure. Okay, I can already tell we have a problem here. I think what I'm gonna have to do is carry this thing to where they have a platform in the water so that I can actually climb onto this thing. It's so tall. Whoa. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Shit. I was stuck like this for a good 2 minutes before a man saw me and was nice enough to help out.
Är det hemmabygge eller?
Ja. Ser du inte det?
Jo. Jag har inte sett den på Temu.
The front wing it broke off in the crash, so I packed everything, went home and designed a much stronger front wing. All right, day 2, the most significant upgrade, a plastic bag protecting the twist throttle, which got water in it, which is why the motor went haywire. The front wing broke off. It wasn't strong enough to begin with, so I printed a new one. This one is a lot tougher. It's a little larger and it's differently angled. It's angled a little bit upwards, which I think is going to be more suitable for this kind of setup. The batteries, yeah, they also got the plastic bag treatment. Oh, it's cold. It's very cold, man. Yeah. That didn't work at all. What an absolute fail of a project. It might be the worst one yet, and that's coming from me. You know, the main wing, it didn't break off because it didn't hit something. It did hit something. It hit the pole. I went too close to the pole. I could hear it. I was able to find footage from this one company that makes a hydrofoiling bike called the Manta 8, and they all start from the water with the frame not having too much buoyancy, so they can push it down in the water and actually climb on top of it. And that was, I'll be the first to say, the biggest issue I'm having is too much buoyancy, something I didn't anticipate. It's so long, I spent a solid 20 minutes just trying to get onto it from the floating deck. The main wing can be a lot thinner, less buoyancy, and an actual waterproof twist throttle. That's the upgrades. Let me know what you think in the comments. You're smart, and if you're into experimental projects like this, having a solid foundation in math and physics can really help. Brilliant makes it simple to start learning right away, even on your phone and computer. They got thousands of interactive lessons in math, science, programming, AI, basically all the stuff that powers the tech we use every day. And it's not just reading or watching a video. So if moving terms around in an equation feels intimidating, you'll be able to find the courses that makes those concepts actually click. And you can even try it out for free today at brilliant.org/ursaliphon. And if you do like it, they do offer a 20% off their annual premium subscription, which unlocks unlimited access to everything they got. So thank you, Brilliant, for sponsoring the video. And thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it very much. Have an awesome day. Bye. See you in the next one. Oh, do you want a hint for the next video? I got it right here.